Rachel, good morning. Thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks, Sean. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. But I believe you've got much better weather over in England than I have right now in Madeira.
We're very lucky. So fingers crossed it'll last for a few days. But just when the kids go back to school, it's blazing sunshine. So yeah, enjoying it. Grateful for it.
Amazing. Well, I appreciate you carving some time out to sit down with me today and talk about your experience working together. The purpose of these sort of videos is to, of course, share some success that we've had with clients and also to allow people to understand what working with a coach can do. Now, if they reach out to me and want to work with me, great. But if they find another coach and this video propels them towards reaching out to another coach and getting support and becoming best versions of themselves, then amazing. So that's the purpose of today. I'll ask you a few questions, very informal, and yeah, we'll just talk about where you've been and where you are now, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So I'll just start with asking a very sort of simple question. Why don't you introduce yourself for those that, of course, don't know who you are?
Okay. My name is Rachel Lovett, and I am relaunching my coaching business that I had many years ago, too long to mention. So I sought out a coach and I placed an advert on Bark, which is a directory where I am. And Sean got in touch with me and we had a conversation. And from that point, I already knew I wanted to use a coach. I was up for it. I appreciate the value of one. I am one, so I advocate that, of course. And I was looking for somebody who could provide me with a roadmap of how to get from where I am now to where I want to be far quicker than if I was to go it alone. Mm-hmm. And that's why I kind of hooked up with a coach, really. And you came along and we got on and we took it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure to work with you. So in terms of yourself then, let's really home in on what was life like before you reached out to a coach. Let's get a bit more sort of...
well, the pull to use a coach was that I was wondering daily about how I go about relaunching the business, and not really having the clarity, not really knowing which path to take, direction, and how to go about it. So I wanted somebody who'd been there and done that, got the hat and the t-shirt, and then could say, Rachel, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do step 1, step 2, step 3. I knew that I had massive deficit in my skills when it came to marketing. I'd been out of it for a considerable time. Everything has changed from when I used to do it. So I thought, let's get with somebody who's doing it well, yourself. Many coaches out there do it very well, and it is a little bit intimidating when you get back into something and realize that the world's moved on from how you were going to go about this. So gone are the days where you can place a one-line ad in Yellow Pages. That was a book for all you young people out there that people used to find people in. And you need to be on multiple platforms. You need to know marketing funnels. You need to be videoing on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. You need to be backing that up with daily emails. You need to be firing things off left, right, and center. And if you haven't got a marketing manager, you need to learn that yourself. Mm-hmm. Or you need to become very resourceful and find a place that you can access these resources if you haven't got the skill, or like me, doing it. So I made that clear to you at the beginning, that I wanted you to kind of guide me on this new territory and provide me with step-by-step instructions and how I go about it. So yeah, that's what. But when I got further down the line, I realized that I wasn't taking the action. And that's quite common for people who feel as though they haven't got the confidence and things. But now I know, because I followed your self-sabotage to advancement course, exactly what it is that I'm doing to self-sabotage. So
Mm.
once you can identify that, then you shared with me ways of how to tackle it, overcome it, and all the tools that you need to actually push through that, because it's really hard when you self-sabotage. My self-sabotage, don't mind sharing, it's procrastination, and it's to do with, thanks to your course, fear of the attention and fear of uncertainty, how to go about things. It's still massive. I'm still working on it, and I've still got to take the action needed. However, now that I've got all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle in front of me, as it were, I can start putting in the corners, putting in the edges, filling in the gaps. And it's because you held me to account. You gave me the tools needed to build a step-by-step process of how to achieve it. Now the onus is on me. I've now got to do it. You know, it's like I say to my clients, can't do it for you, love. So you give your coachees the tools, and then you expect them to take some kind of action towards it. So yeah, that's what you allowed me to do. And I think if I hadn't have employed a coach, then I'd still be wondering. I'd still be wondering what's entailed, what gaps I've got in my skills, how the hell am I going to go about this? But now that I've got it, you know, it's up to me. So yeah, that's where I am from where I was.
Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing all of that with me. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there in terms of the self-sabotage. And I say this to all of the clients I work with, it's not a case of we click our fingers and solve the problem. Self-sabotage will always be there. But as you mentioned, with the right tools and the strategies and the right resources, you now know what to do when self-sabotage will and does inevitably sort of rear its ugly head. So thank you for sharing that. And yeah, you shared that the way in which you're self-sabotaging was sort of procrastination. Now you know why, and now you know what you need to do to stop it. So thank you for going into so much detail. And I love doing these sort of video testimonials, because I think when people are watching these, they can definitely see themselves in your story and other people's story too. So yeah, thank you. What would you say then is, and you have covered a lot there, but what would you say has been your biggest takeaway?
That what you do has got to be authentic. You can't copy off somebody else and hope it fits. You've got to find what's right for you. And although you get given the tools, you've got to tailor that somewhat to be in line with your values, and to go with the right intention and the right, and be authentic. So you've got your story that you use to attract clients. And so it's not a case of I can't copy your story, I can't be like you, I've got to find what works for me. And that was a realization that although you can model excellence, you've still got a hell of a lot of tailoring that you've got to do, and you've got to be able to find yourself in the journey of coaching in order to execute any goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've said that to you before, and I've said it to other people as well. You know, oftentimes we see these coaches and we try and emulate them. Not that you have, but oftentimes we do. It's just natural. And I've said before, the world doesn't need another Sean Holden. You know, the world needs Rachel Lovett. And over the last sort of couple of weeks, you can see how you've been sort of adjusting that and utilizing your story with, of course, the content you've been putting out and the clients that you're working with. So yeah, I really like that. It's always nice I like asking that question, because as you mentioned then, it's not a copy and paste approach. You know, human beings are very complex, and it's always interesting for me to find out what's been someone's biggest sort of takeaway.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So the only other question I really want to sort of ask is, you know, you're a coach yourself. There's a lot of people who are sort of on the fence of working with a coach, you know. So what sort of advice would you give to someone who is perhaps apprehensive of working with a coach? And
I would say interview lots of coaches. Interview lots, you know, they will give you an hour, half an hour of their time. Do not be afraid to go through and have half an hour phone calls with lots of coaches, because as you speak to them, you realize what it is you want to get at, out of it, and it will help you strengthen what it is you're looking for in a coach. So when you do buy into one, it's the right one for you. It's got to be the right one for you. And sometimes you think, oh, this is the right one for me. And then when you speak to another coach, you think, yeah, actually, I never thought I do need somebody who's able to provide that for me. I never realized until I spoke to you, but yeah, that's absolutely right. So don't be frightened of doing the research. You're the one that's buying, you know, you've got to get value. You've got to really, really believe that the person you're investing in is going to give you that value, because you don't want to get halfway through and think, wish I'd gone with the other one.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so that's if I'm honest, just shop around and don't be frightened of shopping around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge investment, you know, working with the coach, and that's why I think, and I think I shared this with you as well, and the very sort of first conversation, you know, I encourage people to go and shop around. I encourage people to sit with and talk with other coaches, because it's important, you know, that you find the right coach for you, because you're going to spend a lot of time with this person. So you want to make sure that you get along, you know, they can add value, and of course their type of coaching is right for you. So yeah, definitely great piece of advice there. So that kind of covers everything. Thank you so much for your time today, Rachel.
You're very welcome, Sean.
Yeah, it's been lovely working with you. So thanks again.
Thank you, Sean. Take care. Bye.